And you should know how we are going to describe a solid. What do you mean by axis? What do you mean by base, apex? Okay, all those things we will discuss today. So already I told you in projection of planes, okay, initial positions depending on resting on corner and edge, we are going to draw initial positions in this manner. Okay, if it is resting on edge, so top view will be like this. If it is resting on corner, initial top view will be like this. And if it is resting on HP, on corner, if it is resting on VP, sorry, if it is resting on HP on edge. So these are the initial positions. If for projection of solids also, it is applicable. Okay. So solid means, so it is a three-dimensional object having length, breadth and thickness. It is bounded by surfaces which may be either plane or curved or combination of the two. So this is the general classification of solids, polyhedron and solids of revolution. So in polyhedron, regular polyhedron and other polyhedron. So tetrahedron means, so it will consist of similar faces. Tetra means how much?
So 4.
4. Okay, tetrahedron consists of 4 similar faces. That means at the base, so it will have triangle. Even 3 slant faces are also so triangles. Totally there are 4 triangular faces which are having same size. That is the tetrahedron. Next, cube or hexahedron. In case of cube, so there are 6 similar faces and they are square, having square shape. Next, octahedron means 8. Dodecahedron means 12. Icosahedron means 20. But here in this course, we are going to consider only 2 regular polyhedrons, tetrahedron and hexahedron or cube. And in case of other polyhedrons, so we are going to consider prisms and pyramids. In today's class, we are going to discuss about pyramids. Next, solids of revolution. That means if we revolve a plane having a particular shape for 360 degree, okay, we are going to get these solids. Okay, for cylinder, if you rotate a rectangle for 360 degree, okay, you can get cylinder. Cone, if you rotate right angle triangle for 360 degree, cone will be generated. Sphere, if you rotate semicircle, okay, or a lamina which is semicircular in shape, okay, it will result in generation of sphere. So in this course, so we are going to consider cylinder and cone. We don't consider sphere for projection of solids. Okay, in isometric projection, we will consider sphere also. So in today's class, we restrict our discussion only to pyramids. Okay. So before that, we should know how we are going to describe a pyramid. Okay. So what do we call this pyramid? Whether it is square pyramid, rectangle pyramid, pentagon, hexagon pyramid, which one? The pyramid stone is, it is? Really?
Square pyramid.
Okay, square pyramid. Okay. So why it is called square pyramid? Because the base is square. Okay. Instead of square, if the base is having pentagon, then that is pentagonal pyramid. If it is having hexagon, hexagonal pyramid. Okay. So this we call it as base. Next, what do we call this line? Vertical line. What do we call this? Okay, this is axis. Okay, axis is the line connecting center of the base and apex. Okay, usually it will be represented in chain dash, not like this. Okay, so this is for just representation. It is a chain dash line. It should be a chain dash line. Next, so this, in case of square pyramid, okay, there are 4 edges. These are called as slant edges or inclined edges because they are not vertical in orientation. Okay, they are inclined. So that's why these four edges are called as slant edges or inclined edges. Next, even base consists of edges or sides. Okay, so there are, in case of square, there are four base edges. In case of pentagon, there are five base edges. For base edges, so in the problem, they may use one more term, shorter edges. The reason is, compared to slant edges, the length of base edges are short. So that's why they are also known as shorter edges. Okay, and these are known as longer edges. So pyramid is a polyhedron formed by a plane surface as its base and a number of triangles as its side faces. So that means if you consider these faces, so they are triangular in shape. This is one face, this is second. Okay, for square there are four slant faces, all meeting at a point called vertex or apex. So here this is the vertex or apex. The imaginary line connecting the apex and center of base is called the axis. Since the side faces called triangular faces are inclined, they are also called as inclined faces or slant faces. So these are called as slant faces, inclined faces. Face means it is a triangular lamina. Okay. Edge means it is only a line. So this line is slanted, whereas this triangle is the slant face. The edges which connect the apex and the base corners are called inclined edges, slant edges, or longer edges. Okay, so all three terms will convey the same meaning. Next, so consider problem. Already I shared a video. Okay, so in that video you can understand the concept. Okay, initially how we are going to keep a solid, why we are going to keep that solid like that. Okay, so all those I explained in that video. Okay, consider a problem. A pentagonal pyramid, 25 mm sides of base and 50 mm axis length, rests on HP on one of its corners of the base such that the two base edges containing the corner on which it rests make equal inclinations with HP. Draw the projections of the pyramid when the axis of the pyramid is inclined to HP at 40 degree and to VP at 30 degree. So in case of projection of planes also, if it is resting on HP on one of the edge or corner, initially we used to keep the complete plane on HP. What was the reason? Why we were keeping complete plane on HP if it is resting on HP in the initial position? Come on, you can answer. Really, why we keep complete lamina on HP? The reason is, so in order to get the true shape of the lamina. Okay. Similarly here also, initially, though it is resting on one of the corners of the base. Okay, so since it is pentagonal pyramid, in the base, so there will be a pentagon. Okay, so it is resting one of the corners of the base. In case of pentagon, there are 5 corners. Okay, whereas it is resting on only one of the corner. So here I am going to draw initial view. That is, I will draw first pentagon. Okay, then so I will take the resting corner towards right. Okay, and I will keep the complete base on HP because I am able to see true shape of the base from top. Okay, otherwise I cannot see the true shape of the base. So in order to get the true shape of the base, so I am going to keep the complete base on HP. Okay, then I will take the top view. First you should draw pentagon, then you should connect all corners to center. In case of pyramid, it is very important. You should locate the center of this pentagon, then you should connect all corners to center. So this O1. Okay, so that means here O1 is the apex. Okay, A O1, B O1, C O1, D O1, E O1. So all these are representation of slant edges in top view. Okay, if you look from top, you can see slant edges. Okay, that you should represent, but the length of the slant edge get reduced because they are inclined. Okay, we cannot get the true length of the slant edges in top view. What we can get is, so we can get true length of the base edges. Okay, next, after drawing the top view by keeping complete base on HP, that means we should keep the solid in vertical orientation, so that's the such that the axis will be vertical. Okay, and that will be perpendicular to HP. Next, project the points and draw the front view. Okay, so if you project the points, okay, next, this is a front view. For front view, the position of the observer is here. Observer is looking from this direction. Now E is nearer to observer, corner E, whereas corner B is farther, and B becomes invisible. So B dash is inside the brackets because it is an invisible corner from front. Next, in D and C, D is nearer to observer, it will become visible, whereas C will become invisible. Okay. Then I will project the points and I will get the front view. Next, so I will show the procedure using SolidWorks. If you have any doubt regarding this, so you can ask. I will clarify your doubt. Okay. So first, draw XY line. Then, so I will name it as XY. Then next, so draw top view. So since it is pentagonal pyramid resting on corner, so I will draw pentagon. Okay, so take the resting corner towards right. So draw a vertical line towards left. So pyramid 25 mm sides of base. So here length of the sides of base is given. It is 25 mm. So I will dimension it as 25. Okay, next, so draw two lines inclined at 108 degree. Same procedure you should follow. Okay, then the length of these two sides also 25. Okay, next, after drawing three sides, so use compass. So here I will use center point arc. You should use compass. Draw an arc. Radius will be 25. Next, so this has center. Draw one more arc. Radius will be 25. Okay, then so connect the points. Okay, so after this I will delete remaining thing. I will increase the thickness. So this is the representation of base. Okay, then I will name the corners of base. after this, I should locate center. Okay, center of this pentagon. For that, you should draw two perpendicular bisectors. You can choose any two corners and you should draw two perpendicular bisectors. So now I will draw a perpendicular bisector from A. That means first draw a horizontal line from A. It will divide CD into two equal parts. Next, I will consider one more corner E and I will draw a perpendicular bisector to CB. That means you should draw a line from point E to center of CB. Okay, locate center of CB, then connect this center of CB to E. So that is one more perpendicular bisector. So after drawing two perpendicular bisectors, so this point will be the center. The coinciding point will be center. So this is the center. Okay, and name the center. Okay, this point represent axis. Okay, since axis is perpendicular to HP, when you keep the solid in vertical orientation, axis will be perpendicular to HP. That means in top view it will look like a point. So the apex, since it is a top view, you are looking from this direction, apex will be visible, whereas center of base, since it is on HP, okay, center of base, if you look from top, center you cannot see. Okay, so apex is visible and center of base will become invisible. So I will name apex as O1 and center of base inside the bracket because it is invisible in O. Okay. So now in this video you can see, I will show you. So initially, so we will keep the pyramid like this. Okay, that means pyramid will be kept on HP. So this is the base of the pyramid. It is completely kept on HP. Okay, so these are slant edges and these are slant faces. Now, if you look from top, okay, you can see this apex, whereas center of base from top you cannot see. That is the meaning. Okay. Next, even if you look from front, you are able to see this edge, this slant edge, this one. There are a few more slant edges which are on the other side, which you cannot see from front. Okay. Next, even if you look from top, you are able to see these slant edges, but when you represent them as in top view, so because of the inclination, the length of the slant edge get reduced in the top view. Okay, now so I am able to locate the center. Now I should represent slant edges. That means I should connect all corners to center. Okay, this C2 O. Now, so I will increase the thickness since these are slant edges, so they must be represented in thick lines. Okay. Next, I will erase so remaining part of perpendicular bisector. Okay. So this is the top view. Next, so by projecting points, I will get the front view. So if you keep like this from front, again, so it will be represented as a triangle. It will look like a triangle. So here you can draw a slanted, here also you can draw. Base will look like a line. Since it is also like plain lamina, okay, so it will look like a line. Base will be represented as line in front view, whereas here it will look like a triangle. So first I will project the points. Next, from center also I should draw a projector. Okay, after this, first you should consider the height of the pyramid. So that is 50 mm axis length. So this axis length is nothing but that is the height of the pyramid. Okay, in front view, after projecting the points, first thing you should do is you should draw the axis to the given length. So I will draw axis to given length. Okay, first, so draw the axis. Okay, so I know its length, it is 50. Okay, next, so you will get the apex. After drawing axis for given length, you will get the apex. Now connect, so apex to corners of base. Okay, so this is the front view. Next, I will increase the thickness of slant edges also. Okay, so this is the front view. Next, I will name the points. A dash. So here E dash will be visible, whereas B will be invisible. So B dash inside the brackets. Next, so from front. So if you look from front, so are you able to see center of base from front? Can you see center of base from front? You cannot see. Okay, so that's why that should be inside the bracket. Whereas apex, now you are able to see the apex. It is visible from front, whereas center of base, it is invisible. So center of base will be invisible. Inside the brackets. O dash. Okay, next. Dash is visible, whereas C dash invisible. Okay. Next, I will name the apex. So it is O1 dash. Okay, so this is the first step. Okay, initially I will keep the given solid. Okay, the base of the given solid, that is pyramid, on completely on HP, and I will take its top and front view. First I will draw top view, then I will draw the front view. Okay, next, given condition is it is resting on only one corner. Okay, so I am going to satisfy the first condition. So a pentagonal pyramid, 25 mm sides of base and 50 mm axis length, rests on HP on one of its corners of the base. So that means it is resting on corner, such that the two base edges containing the corner on which it rests make equal inclination with HP. Whether if they mention this condition also, by default, anyhow we are going to satisfy this condition in all problems related to pentagonal plane or pentagonal pyramid. Okay, so in case of planes also we have followed the same procedure. Okay, so when you lift it, so both these edges will make equal inclination. Okay, you need not worry about this condition. By default, it will get satisfied. Okay, that means when you lift it, okay, when it is resting on corner, this edge and the one more edge on other side, okay, both will make same inclination with HP by default. Okay, they will make equal inclination. So now I should keep only corner on HP. Then I should satisfy inclination. Draw the projections of the pyramid when the axis of the pyramid is inclined to HP at 40 degree and to VP at 30 degree. Since it is resting on HP, okay, in projection of solids, almost all problems, okay, need not worry about resting on VP. Okay, here most of the problems, almost 99%. So you will get resting on HP only. Okay, so it is resting on one of the corner and axis is making 40 degree with HP. So now axis is parallel to VP and it is perpendicular to HP. Okay, but given condition is it should make an inclination of 40 degree. Okay, in order to satisfy this condition, okay, if you want to make axis inclined at 40 degree, you should lift the base for 50 degree. Okay, the angle between base and axis is 90 degree. Okay, that's why if you want to make the axis inclined at 40 degree, base should be lifted for 50 degree. That means base should make if base make an inclination of 50 degree with HP, automatically axis will make an inclination of 40 degree. So that means here, if you want to make axis inclined at 40 degree to HP, you should lift the base such that the base will make an inclination of 50 degree. Okay, if this angle is 50, automatically the angle between axis and HP will become 40. Okay, you can observe that. So here first consider a point on XY, leaving convenient gap or convenient space. Consider a point. This is A dash. Next, draw a line inclined at 50 degree. Okay, so that means first you are going to represent base first. Okay, you start from base. First draw a line inclined at 50 degree. So the reason is, if you make the base inclined at 50 degree, automatically axis will get inclined at 40 degree. Okay, that you will understand after construction procedure. Okay, the angle should be 50. Suppose if you want to make the axis inclined at 45 degree, base should be lifted for 45 degree. Okay, 90 minus given inclination of the axis, so that will give you inclination of the base. Okay, here 90 minus 40, 50. Suppose if you want to incline axis to 60 degree, then you should make the base inclined at 30 degree. Okay, like that you should do. So first I will draw a line inclined at 50 degree. Next, I will take the radial distance in order to locate the points of the base. Okay, I will take the radial distance between A to E. Okay, it is 14.69. So this as center, A as center, A to E as radius. I will draw an arc. 14.69. Okay. Next, again, so take the radial distance using compass. Okay, you should take radial distance between A and O dash. Okay, it is 21.56. So again, using center point arc, From here I will draw an arc. Okay, radius is 21.6. Next, so I will consider radial distance between A to D. It is 38.47. Okay, so you should use compass for taking these radial distances, which you are familiar with. Okay, already you did practice a lot of problems in projection of planes. Similarly, you should take the radial distance. Again, A as center, A to D as radius. I will draw this arc. Okay, so next, so I will draw the points just for reference. Next, I will increase the thickness. So then I will name the points. Okay, this is A dash, then this is E dash, then B dash. Next, O dash. Next, D dash, C dash. Okay, so after getting points of base, okay, what we are doing is we are retrying the same front view. It is like projection of planes only. We are retrying the same front view to satisfy the inclination with respect to HP. Okay, next, so after this, so you can, so before that, okay, this should be axis line. Okay, because so I took this, okay, dimensions. Now I will delete the dimension values. This line should be axis, it should be chain dash. Okay. Now, so you have A dash and D dash, D dash, D dash. You have these 2 points. You should get apex O1 dash. Okay. For that, again, use compass. Take radial distance A dash to O1 dash. Cut an arc. Next, so take the radial distance between D dash to O1 dash. From D as center, cut one more arc. You will get O1 dash. Okay, using compass. First, I will measure the radial distance between these 2 points and these 2. Okay. Next, A dash as center and radial distance between A dash and apex. I will draw an arc. Next, D dash as center, again radial distance between D dash and O1 dash. Okay, considering that radial distance, I will draw one more arc. Then, so this intersection point, okay, so this will be O1 dash. Okay, next, so connect the points. So I will connect A dash to O1 dash. Next D1 dash to O dash. After that, so again you have apex. So connect these two here. Next, I will draw axis. Okay, this should be a chain dash line. So I will draw it, make it chain dash. Okay, then I will increase the thickness. Okay, so now I will measure the angle between axis and xy. So now we can see when we make base inclined at 50, automatically axis will make an inclination of 40 degree. Okay. Next, so after drawing the second front view, I should project the points and get the second top view. Okay. So first I will project the points. I will project and I will get the points. Okay, after projecting the points, so I will name them. So this is O1. A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, next, so you should not go for connecting them simply. Okay, so here you should consider rule of visibility. That means this is the second top view. You are looking from this direction. Okay, in the beginning, so you have written line convention. Okay, so there we discussed visible edges are represented with continuous line and invisible edges are represented with discontinuous lines. So when you look from top, okay, so if apex is nearer to observer and base is farther, then base will become invisible in the top view. Suppose instead of in this orientation, suppose apex base is nearer to observer and apex is farther, then base will become visible. So here for the second position, since it is a top view, okay, observer is looking from this direction. For the observer, if apex is nearer compared to base, okay, then base will become invisible. From top, you cannot see what is there in the base. Okay, so that's why it should be represented in dashed line. So that means if base is invisible, invisible edges, that is edges of the base, should be represented with dashed lines. Okay, and also some of these slant edges also will become invisible. So in general, visible slant and base edges should be represented with continuous line, invisible slant and base edges should be represented by dashed lines. Okay, that is the general point. How you come to know whether these base edges are visible or not? So that you should visualize, or else there is a procedure. There are set of points. By following those points also, you can represent it properly. Okay. So actual thing is, if you look from top, okay, if apex is nearer, base is far, base become invisible. Okay, and depending on the orientation, few slant edges also will become invisible. Okay, so if we cannot visualize which are the visible and invisible edges, we can follow rules of visibility and we can get it right. Okay, now I have points here, so I will consider point of center of base also, so I will name it O. So next, before going for connecting these points, consider rules of visibility. Okay, so first rule of visibility is join the boundary points with continuous lines. Okay, this is the first step that you should follow. Join the boundary points with continuous lines. So first step I will follow. Okay, boundary means, so no point will be left out of that. Okay, that is the boundary. So I will connect boundary points. I will start from O1. I will connect O to B, then B to C, C to D, D to E, then E to O1. So these are the boundary points. That means there are few more points inside this, but outside it there are no other points. That is the meaning of boundary. Okay, in projection of solids this is very important. Okay, so you should follow this. So now I have connected all boundary points. Okay, next I will go for the second point in rule of visibility. Draw visible edges or nearest face with continuous lines. Draw invisible edges or farthest face with dashed lines. So the meaning of this is, here we are looking from this direction, top. Okay, for the observer, apex is nearer, base is farther. Okay, if base is farther to the observer, then base edges will become invisible. Okay, so draw visible edges or nearest face with continuous lines. So in this case, so in case of pyramid, so apex is nearer, base is farther, means so base will become invisible. So next I will connect the remaining points of the base using dashed line. Okay, boundary, irrespective of whether they are visible or invisible, boundary points should be connected with continuous line. That is the first rule of visibility. So here join the boundary points with continuous lines. So here boundary points should be always joined using continuous lines. Okay, so that's why I have connected all boundary points using continuous lines. Next, so since apex is nearer, base is farther to observer, base will become invisible. So now A to B, okay, I will connect using dashed line. And also I will increase the thickness. Okay, next B to C, okay, already on the boundary. Okay, if it is on the boundary, whether it is visible or invisible, it should be a continuous line. Next, C to D already on the boundary and it is already connected. DE on boundary already connected. Next, E to A not connected. So now I should connect it with dashed lines. Okay, this is the second rule of visibility. Okay, now I have drawn boundary points and base sides, base edges. Okay, next I should draw slant edges. That means I should connect all the corners of the base to apex. That means E to O1 already drawn, D to O1 I should draw, C to O1 I should draw, okay, and A to O1 I should draw. Okay, three more slant edges I should draw. E O1 and BO1 already on the boundary. Remaining three I should draw. For that, I should consider remaining rules of visibility. So third rule of visibility is if two sides joining a corner are continuous lines, then the other side projecting from that corner is also a continuous line. The meaning of this is if there is a corner, a point like this, okay, if this is connected by two continuous lines like this, next a line projecting from that should be a continuous one. That is the meaning. Next, if two sides joining a corner are dashed lines, then the other side projecting from that corner is also a dashed line. The meaning of this is, suppose if there is a corner point, okay, if it is connected by two dashed lines, like this, so the one more line projecting from that should be a dashed one. That is the meaning. But so it is attached to one more condition. 3 and 4 are mutually related. Okay, two continuous or discontinuous lines do not cross one another. That means in projection of solids, okay, you cannot find two continuous lines crossing like this. Okay, so that means slant two lines means it is applicable only to slant edges and base edges. Okay, next two dashed lines also will not cross one another. That means, okay, this is not possible. It cannot happen. This is also not possible. Next, what is possible then? One continuous and one discontinuous line may cross one another. That means if there is a continuous line, it will be crossed by a dashed one. This is possible. Okay, next, if there is a dashed line, it will be crossed by another continuous. So this is possible, whereas two continuous lines crossing not possible, two dashed lines crossing not possible. Okay, based on these points, we will try to connect remaining slant edges. Okay, here A is the corner. Okay, it is two lines from this corner, so they are dashed lines. Okay, if a corner is connected by two dashed lines, the one which is projecting from it also a dashed line, and it should not cross one more dashed line. So that means based on that, so since these two are dashed lines, so I will draw one more dashed line from A to O1. Okay, and it is not crossing any continuous line, sorry, any dashed line. Okay, next, so consider I should draw a slant edge from D to O1. Okay, now again it is a corner, it is connected by two continuous lines. So if this is connected by two continuous lines, so one more line which I am going to draw, that also should be a continuous one, and it should not cross one more continuous line, it should not cross, but now it is crossing a discontinuous line, that is possible. So here it is crossing a discontinuous line, so this is possible. So I will draw it as a continuous line. Okay, next, similarly, corner point, it is connected by two continuous lines, so I will draw one more continuous line. Okay, so now again this line is crossing a dashed line, that is possible. Okay, next I should represent axis, but A to O1, so it will axis will overlap with slant edge. So for remaining thing, I should draw a chain dash line. Okay, only this much remaining portion I can represent it as a chain dash line. Okay, so this is the second top view. While drawing second top view, rules of visibility is applicable. Okay, if you have any doubt regarding this, you can ask. Okay, by practice, so this will become familiar to you. Okay, need not worry. So after solving few problems, after following the same procedure, okay, you will become familiar with this. Next, I should redraw the second top view, similar to projection of planes. Okay, here also I should redraw the second top view in order to satisfy the last condition. Okay, the axis of the pyramid is inclined to HP at 40 degree and to VP at 30 degree. Okay, whether given inclination with VP, whether it is true inclination or false inclination, the axis of the pyramid is inclined to VP at 30 degree, means whether it is true inclination or false inclination. Okay, someone has to answer for this question. Okay, inclination with VP, whether given inclination is true or false. The axis of the pyramid is inclined to VP at 30 degree. Okay, now whether the given inclination is true or false. Smita Matthew. Ubaid.
Yes, sir.
Okay, whether the given inclination is true or false. Inclination with respect to VP. So here the axis of the pyramid is inclined to VP at 30 degree. What do you mean by this? Whether given inclination is true or false? Whether 30 degree is true inclination or false inclination? Okay, ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. If you know the answer, anyone can answer for this. Okay, I am telling this in the question. If they don't use the terms appears to be inclined, and also if they don't refer the angle to view, the given inclination is true. Okay, here suppose if they use the axis of the pyramid appears to be inclined to VP at 30 degree, means that is false inclination. Okay, or in top view the axis of the pyramid is inclined at 30 degree to VP, means so that is also false inclination. Here they don't use the term appear, and also they are not using the term in top view. So both top view and appears they are not using. That means given inclination is true. Okay, next we should make this axis inclined at 30 degree. Okay, so next we should check whether we have true length of the axis in second top view. Okay, do we have true length of the axis in second top view? Here, whether we are having true length of the axis or false length of the axis in the second top view. Okay, the actual length of the axis is 50 mm here. Now we can measure the angle, measure the length of this axis, that is from O to O1. If I measure, it is 38.25. Actual length of the axis is 50. That means here I am having false length of the axis, but given inclination is true. That means I should find out beta. Again, same procedure like in projection of planes. So I should find beta. Okay, first I will draw a line parallel to xy. So I know true inclination 30 degree and also true length of the axis 50. So I will draw a continuous line. Okay, next I will draw a line inclined at 30 degree and having true length of the axis, that is 50. Okay, this angle should be 30 degree. Next, length 50. Okay, next, so after this I will draw locus of this point. I will draw a horizontal line. Okay, next, so I will consider this as center, that is this as O1, and I will take radial distance between O1 to O, that is the axis, that is 38.25, and I will draw an arc. So this as center, I will draw an arc to cut locus. Radius will be equal to 38.25. It is radial distance between or length of the axis in second top view. Okay, then I will connect these 2 points. Okay. Next, I will measure the beta angle. So it is around 41 degree. So next, so after this, so I will consider, I will mark the points. Okay, so this is O1. Okay, next, so this will be O. Okay, and the beta angle line, so I am marking these points O1, O, then A. Okay, I will measure the radial distance between O1 and A, and I will cut an arc and I will get point A. Okay, O1 as center and radial distance, that is 24 point. So I will draw an arc. Okay, so next, so I will mark the points. So this is A. I will mark the point. Okay. Next, so now I am able to get O1, A and O, 3 points. Okay. Next, I should get remaining points B, C, D and E. Okay, these 4 points I should get. For that, what I will do is, so I will extend this line. Okay, I will extend this line of beta angle. I will extend it to some extent. Okay, align the scale to this beta angle and extend the line. Okay, now, so I will measure the radial distance between O and this point here, O and midpoint of CD here. Okay, I will take this radial distance. Now, O as center and this distance as radius, I will draw an arc that is 10.92. Okay, and I will get this point here, center of CD. Okay, next what I will do is, so I know this line is 90 degree to CD, perpendicular to CD. The line drawn between O1 and this point here. Okay, it is a horizontal line and it's a vertical. So here the angle between these two lines is 90 degree. So now in this final top view, I have drawn this horizontal line from O1 to this point as inclined to beta angle. So that means if this is inclined to beta angle, this line CD also should be perpendicular to this beta angle line. So after getting this point, taking radial distance between O2 on this point, mid center of CD, so I will draw a line perpendicular to beta angle line passing through this point. Using scale and protractor, so draw a line perpendicular to this passing through this point. Okay, next, so take the radial distance between center of CD to C. If it is 25, half of it means 12.5. Okay, from this point to this 12.5, from here to D it will be 12.5. Okay, if you measure also, so you will get the same value, 12.5 radial distance between this point and this. Okay, now, so I will, this as center, this point as center, here I will cut an arc. Radius is 12.5. Next again, this as center, I will cut one more arc. Radius will be 12.5. Okay, so then I will name these points. So this is point C and this is point D. Next, so after this, so now I have C and D and O1. Okay, I know C and O1. I can get B. Here also I know D and O1. I can get E. So first I will measure the radial distance between D and E. Okay, you take radial distance between D and E using compass. Okay, then draw an arc. So D as center and D to E as radius. I will draw an arc. Next, so I will measure the radial distance between O1 to E. Okay, this radial distance I will measure. So it is 39.30. So O1 as center I will draw an arc. Okay, radius is 39.30. Okay, so this is point E. Okay, in the similar manner, I can get point B. Again, radial distance between DE and CB both are same. C as center and 17.3 as radius. I will draw one arc. Next, radial distance between O1 to E and O1 to B both are same. So O1 as center and O1B as radial distance. So I will draw an arc. So that is 17.30. Sorry, not 17.30, it is 39.30. O1 as center, DA 39.30 as radius. I will draw an arc. Okay, so this point is B. Okay, next, so I will connect these things. Okay, here you need not worry about rule of visibility. You are redrawing second top view as it is in different orientation. You should make this axis inclined to beta angle. Okay, remaining thing. So if it is continuous in the second top view, here also that will be continuous. If it is dashed in second top view, in final top view also that will be a dashed line. Okay, so I will connect the points. So again, boundary points I am connecting. Okay, next, so I will connect B to A and A to E. Again, it is a dashed line. Okay, next, so A to O1. Okay, so this is the second topic. Next, so I will represent this as chain dash. This is the axis. Okay, next, so after this, so you should draw the final view. For drawing final view, you should project points from here and you should project points from second front view. And here also, you should apply rule of visibility. So that means, so this is the final front view. Okay, in order to draw the final front view. Okay, so for front view, the position of the observer is here. Observer will be here. Okay. Now compared to apex and base, this is the base. Okay. Base is nearer to observer compared to apex. Okay. If base is nearer to observer than apex, then base will become visible. Okay. So that's why all base edges should be continuous lines. Okay. So here for top view, this is the position of observer. He is looking from top. For front view, this is the position. Here also for top view, observer position is here. For front view, this is the position of the observer. So here we are drawing the final front view. So this is the position of the observer. Okay. And since base is nearer to observer than apex, so all base edges will become visible. Okay. First I will project the points, then I will connect you applying rule of visibility. First O1, so I am projecting from second front view and also third top view. Next A here, next B, here also B, next C, here also C, next D, next E, okay. So after projecting the points, okay, next I will project center, that is O, center of base. Next I will name the points. So this is O1 dash, next A dash, B dash, C dash, next D dash, E dash, and here this is center of base, so O dash. Okay, after locating points, so again I will apply rule of visibility. First rule of visibility is join all boundary points with continuous line. So I will first join all boundary points with continuous line. Okay, this is the first step. Next, since base is nearer to observer compared to apex, okay, you are looking from this direction, so all base edges will become visible. So I will first make this thick. Okay, next, so I will connect remaining base edges. That means C dash to D dash, D dash to E dash, Okay, so I did a mistake. Okay, so A is here. Okay, so I will delete. Okay, point A is this one is point A. Okay. So B to A dash. Very good. Okay. Okay, first I connected boundary points. That is the first role of visibility. Next, since base is nearer to observer compared to apex, so when observer is viewing from this direction, that is front view, so complete base will become visible to him. Okay. Next, so last position means, so here like this. So in order to satisfy the inclination with VP, okay, now I am rotating like this. Now you can see base is visible to you, whereas apex is far up and it will become invisible for you. Okay, that is the meaning. You are looking from front. From front, now base you can see. Okay, apex is invisible. So here you are looking from top. You cannot see base. Since base is far up compared to apex, so you cannot see in top. Okay, that's why in second top view, base is invisible like this. Okay, in final front view, base is visible because so it is nearer to you, nearer to observer. Okay, next I should connect remaining points. Okay, so E dash O1 dash already on the boundary. Next, I should connect from A dash to O1 dash. So A is connected by two continuous lines. But if you go for drawing one more continuous line, okay, it will cross another continuous line. This is not possible. Okay, already we discussed rule of visibility. Okay, here two continuous or two discontinuous lines do not cross one another. Suppose from A, since it is connected by two continuous lines, if I go for drawing one more continuous line, it is crossing another continuous line. So that's why I cannot go for drawing a continuous one. Instead, so I should draw a dashed one. Next, so again, so from B, it is also connected by two continuous lines. But if I go for drawing one more continuous line from corner B, it will cross a continuous line, which is not possible. Okay, so that means I should go for drawing a dashed one. Okay, next from D dash, okay, it is connected by two continuous line. So if I go for drawing a continuous one, here no problem, it is not crossing any other continuous lines, it is not crossing. So I can draw it as a continuous line. Okay, so next, so I will draw axis. So draw a chain dash line connecting O dash to O1. So this is the final front view. Okay. So projection of solids is very important from the point of